You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
Well, guys, we need to revisit Charissa Thompson actually admitting that she put out fake reports from the sideline sometime. I believe it was actually mainly from her earlier career, but she had actually mentioned this to Erin Andrews before in the past. Nothing has happened to her. Now, of course, she's on Fox Sports, and also she is on Thursday Night Football, which is owned by Jeff Bezos and Amazon. They actually put that on Thursday Night Football. Now, when it comes to sideline reporting, the number one figure when it comes to sideline reporting has been Michele Tafoya. Now, she is no longer actually doing sideline reporting anymore. She was on with NBC for the longest time. And when you think of sideline reporting with the NFL, you think of Michele Tafoya. Now, she's actually more engaged in politics now and doing her own thing. But she actually appeared on Outkick, and she weighed in on Charissa Thompson admitting that she lied. So we're going to be diving into that here in this video. So let's jump over here to Outkick, guys. Right here. Michele Tafoya on Charissa Thompson making things up. I was disappointed. Now we got a 6-minute clip here. And they're going to be talking about Charissa Thompson and, the state of the media in general. Okay? Now, to me, journalism is pretty much dead. There's a whole bunch of fake news out there. I don't trust the mainstream media whatsoever. But let's go ahead and listen in to this right here. Let's play it.
You mentioned that this was a story that you wouldn't touch unless you got some sort of additional information before the game. Spoke to them on the phone personally. Well, this rings a bell in terms of recent events with what we've been hearing from Charissa Thompson, also a longtime sports broadcaster. And she had mentioned on a podcast, she actually said she mentioned it even further back than this, but she reiterated it recently on a podcast that she had a habit when she would be on the sidelines of falsifying information that she would get from coaches or players in order to craft her halftime reports, saying if she wasn't able to actually speak to them, she would just make something up. She later tried to clarify, no, I would just actually take what they would tell me earlier in the game and rework it a little bit, knowing that it probably would have gone in that same direction. Anyways, a lot of people weren't buying it. It was, even if it is true, it's a horribly stupid thing to say out loud. Michele, when you heard that, what went through your mind, and what kind of damage does this do to the reputations of all the sideline reporters that are out there actually doing their job and making sure all of their information is 100% accurate?
To your first question, what went through my mind? Initially, I looked at it and I thought, for some reason, I think she's not going to pay any kind of substantial price for this. That was my gut reaction. And I thought she probably should. They might want to take her off the air for a couple of weeks just because this is damage control. They didn't see it. Amazon didn't see it that way. Fox didn't see it that way. That's fine. That's totally their prerogative. But I was disappointed. I know Charissa a little bit, a really nice person, but this is not something that you do. And as you said, to say it out loud, I think where she really hurt herself was when she said, I said this earlier and I didn't get fired then, so I'll say it again. I made stuff up.
Now, I'm going to stop right there. Is it really surprising, that she didn't get fired, she didn't get punished? I mean, all you got to do is look at the state of the mainstream media. The mainstream media engages in fake news all the time. So if they actually fired her, suspended her, then a whole bunch of people would need to be fired or suspended. That's my opinion on it.
You can't walk that back. You can't recraft that. The fact that she said, I said it before and I didn't get fired, indicates to me that she knew it was not a good idea to say out loud what she had done or even to do what she had done. So for her to come back and say, no, I chose my words incorrectly. Well, wait a minute. You just said I didn't get fired the first time I admitted it, so I probably won't get fired the second time I admit it. you cannot do this. You cannot do this in journalism. You cannot make stuff up. I don't care what the circumstance is. Now, she actually used the phrase, I made things up.
Yeah, she did.
So she used that phrase. So I don't know how you sort of put that toothpaste back in the tube. I feel for her. I know she's going through hell right now, but it's kind of one of those things. It's an unforced error. She brought it on herself. You can't do it. And I would point out that she's on Amazon.
Yep.
The owner of Amazon is Jeff Bezos, who also happens to own the Washington Post, which holds itself up as a newspaper of record, as a bastion of journalism.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, journalism is dead. The Washington Post engage in fake news all the time.
So, I'm just not sure what kind of message that sends to the rest of journalism. And people are so tired, Charlie. People are so tired of people not being accountable for the things that they do and say. And so I think that there should have been some accountability here. But you cannot do that. There's no reason to do this. If you don't have a report at halftime, don't file one. Tell the producer, I got nothing. Let's wait until I got something down here on the field. I got nothing to report for you.
Yeah, it seems like in a lot of senses, journalism has lost its integrity. Like you just mentioned with the Washington Post, Charissa Thompson's recent comments. It almost has taken a twist where now it's like becoming, even Charissa, it seems like for her, it's more like she's embracing like this pop culture personality. Like when she's on the podcast with Erin Andrews and they're having girl talk all the time, which is super fun. But I think it needs to remain separate. Those types of conversations where you're getting more into just like the personal like aspects of your life versus the professional aspect where you're on the field and expected to be talking about things from an objective point of view. And it seems like now more than ever, we're losing that distinction. And you're even seeing like social media stars now becoming the faces of, what used to be serious journalistic projects.
And let me stop right there again. I trust more people on the internet, doing what we're doing much more than the mainstream media. There's no doubt about it. I mean, why would anybody actually want to put their faith in MSNBC or an outlet like that where all they do is lie to you 24/7? Doesn't make any sense. People over the internet doing what I'm doing are much more trustworthy than the mainstream media.
And it's for me, like I took the traditional route. I started in local news. I worked my way up. I went on to work, the free ESPN. I came here. I had a variety of different jobs, and I know you took the same traditional route. But it's interesting now to see the landscape of journalism and where it's going.
And in some cases, it's actually a bit of a stretch to even use the term journalism in its purest form. This objective observation, give you the facts, let the viewer decide. And yes, it's cult of personality. It's who's going to get clicks, who's going to get hits. We see now these different studies that show how many people are getting their news from TikTok influencers. I don't know what the solution is, because it seems to me that every time that someone claims they have a story and they've got the facts to back it up, if they never present them, Adam Schiff in the whole Trump thing, and that's not saying I'm this big Trump fan, I'm just saying Adam Schiff came out, kept saying, I've got the goods, never presented the goods. So where's his responsibility and accountability in this? Heck, if you can lie on the floor of the Senate of the United States of America, you can lie anywhere. And it seems to me people just don't care enough to hold people accountable for it anymore. I don't know why that is.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I also feel like now you just constantly see, let's say someone blasts something out on X and they're like, oh, breaking news or sources tell me. And then like people will, latch onto it for a while and then it'll never really go anywhere. And then it's almost like, oh, well, maybe that was real. Maybe it wasn't. And then people just forget about it. It's very bizarre. The world that news has, the direction news has gone in.
Yeah. So you guys heard that right there. Yeah, journalism is dead. it's really that. And you know what? When it comes to this whole thing with Charissa Thompson, I must admit, it makes you even want to question, like, was Michele Tafoya always telling the truth when she was actually doing her sideline reporting? I'm wondering. Maybe not. Maybe she did. But it definitely hurts the profession right there when Charissa Thompson actually does come out and say, hey, I made up stuff. How much did she actually make up? I have no idea. So in the next game, man, when a sideline reporter actually comes out and says something, people may end up questioning, did the coach really say that? Yeah, maybe he did. Maybe he would actually agree with that, but did he truly say it? That's why I believe, man, journalism is dead. Integrity, for the most part, is dead in the media. Even in the sports media, man, a lot of these sports personalities are propagandists. I'm not saying that Charissa Thompson is necessarily that, but we definitely know, man, in the sports media, man, like ESPN, you have to follow the agenda. Places like that, man, you have to be a propagandist. I've said it many times before, like Stephen A. Smith. There is a difference between Stephen A. on First Take and Stephen A. on his podcast. Of course, he can't go in and say what he wants to say like he can on First Take. Can't do that because it's owned by Disney. And there's definitely an agenda. But that's just my thoughts on this. What do you guys think of this? Black and white sports fans, let us know what you think about all this in the comments. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. And we will catch you next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.